Your love is devoted, like a ring of solid gold, like a vow that is tested, like a covenant of old. Your love is enduring through the winter rain, beyond the horizon, with mercy for today. Faithful you have been, and faithful you will be. You pledge yourself to me, and that's why I sing your praise. Will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. You father the orphan, and your kindness makes us whole. You shoulder our weakness, and your strength becomes our own. You're making me like you, clothing me in white, bringing beauty from ashes, where you will have your bride, free of all her guilt, rid of all her shame, known by her true name. That's why I sing your praise. Will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. That's why I sing your praise. Will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips.
Ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips.
I hit a big milestone this week when I was playing Brawl Stars and I got to 10,000 trophies. You see, I was playing this game called Clash of Clans over 10 years ago. As a youth pastor, I was playing the games that the youth I was working with was playing, and this was the most popular game. It was the game that everybody played. And then maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, a new game by the same makers came out. It was called Clash Royale. And I tried it, and it just, I thought it was a horrible game. I just didn't like playing it, and I just didn't think it was interesting or fun or whatever. And then fast forward to just about a little less than 2 years ago, I started working at a new church here in San Diego, and all the kids in the youth group were playing. I mean, I think at least 30 or 40% of the kids, this was probably the most common denominator besides texting that the kids in this youth group were playing. Older, younger, mostly guys, but some girls. And it was probably the most popular thing for kids to do in the youth group. And so I started playing it because even though I didn't really like the game the first time, I figured, I should try something new. I want to relate, I want to connect, I want to share the same experiences. And then maybe about a year ago or something, a new game called Brawl Stars came out, and I was like, well, now another really popular game, and now I've got to work on this one as well, and learn how to play this game. And my motivation was to connect and to relate and to share the same kind of experiences. But it was a hard game. It wasn't my natural type of game that I like to play. But after many hours of playing, I was able to at least be somewhat competent at it and get to 10,000 trophies. The Bible says in Exodus chapter 20, verse 12, "Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you." This is one of the 10 Commandments, one of the 10 most important guidelines for living that God gave the Israelites and gives us for how to live and honor Him. I get this question or comment or issue come up all the time because I work with Asian American youth, and many of their parents, all their parents are older than them, and then some of their parents are from cultures which are just really different than where they come from. And a very common issue from both the parent side and from the youth side is the issue of communication. And youth oftentimes want to know how to have a better relationship with them, specifically because they come from a different culture, or they have different values, or just even from a different time period, and it's really challenging. It's really difficult sometimes to know how to do that. And so I want to give you some tips, some suggestions about how you can do that. And the reason why I want to do this, and the reason why I think that you also want to learn and to grow, is because you want to have a better relationship with your parents. And sometimes that means you might have to do things that are uncomfortable. You might have to do things that you don't feel like you really want to. Or you might have to learn about new things that are just not natural for you. But in that process of their relationship, in that growing of the relationship, you might realize that there are some things that you really enjoy about it. And maybe you'll even find that you're really succeeding in developing a relationship cross-culturally or across generations. So the first thing I'd like to say is that no matter how old you are, no matter if you're a senior who has graduated and leaving off of college, or no matter what age you are, even if you're an adult or whatever, it's never too late to start. The time to start is right now. The time to start is today. The time to start building relationship and growing your relationship with your parents, communicating with them, is right now. And the second thing I say is, if you need to, start with the simple stuff. Start with very basic stuff. Ask them non-threatening, not to do with controversial things or things that you fight about, but ask them questions about just life in general. How are you doing? What's going on with you? How do you feel about certain things? And also share about what is going on with you too. Again, it doesn't have to be really complicated things. It doesn't have to be really deep things or things, and it doesn't need to be things that you guys tend to fight over, but it can be things that are just easy to share. And I would say not just do this, like talk and communicate and share these basic simple things with them, but do this all the time. Do this as much as you can, because the more you do this, you are actually building up something. Every time you do it, it's just like one book in the library that you put in, and it just feels like one book, but you stack enough books, and then you have something huge. You have something great. You have something big. But it begins with just the first conversation, the first book, the first thing that you share. Another thing I would say is that you should ask them things about how they feel about things, and also things about their experience in life. Your parents are, well, they're older than you, right? Your parent or parents are older than you, and they have experiences in life and actually family stories and things which you can draw wisdom from, and actually may be valuable to you as you grow older. And probably for a lot of them, they would love to talk about it and they love to share about it. And so go ahead and ask them. Ask them about stories about when they were growing up, or what they went through, if they lived somewhere else. And be ready to hear kind of their experiences and what they went through, how they felt about it. Speaking of feeling, I would say ask them how they're feeling and doing. I think sometimes we think that parents are supposed to ask kids how they're doing, and parents take care of kids, and that's true. But there's nothing wrong with you asking your parents how they're doing. And there's nothing wrong with asking how can you be helpful, or how can you be supportive to them. Especially in a time like right now when a lot of things are kind of crazy and a lot of things are different. It's a great time to ask your parents just kind of to stop and to say, how are you doing, and what is going on with relationship or work or job. You're not their friend. You're not their that's not your role or your position, but as part of a family, sharing life, that is part of sharing life together. And finally, I would say respect that God has put these parents in your life. The reason why the Bible says to honor them is because you can honor them and respect them even when you disagree with them. I think for many of us, for most of us, I think if we were to look into it and really think about it, we would recognize that our parents do love us, that they are there for us, that they are cheering us on. They just want what's best for us. But sometimes there are disagreements, and sometimes there are different values. Sometimes there are different priorities. Sometimes they're getting used to the fact that we're becoming little adults and starting to stretch our wings and look at life kind of through our own eyes and through our own ways. And those things are challenging. Those things are things that you need to talk about and discuss and find common ground on. But even in that, you can respect and honor them. And if your parents do talk to you about these things, it is because they care about you. It is because they love you. It's because they want to support you. And I think you should appreciate that and recognize that. In Ephesians chapter 6, the author explains a little bit more about what this means. The author says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise, that it may go well with you, and that you may live long in the land." Amen.